If you started travelling by air within the last 10 years, chances are you would not have seen this, the IATA paper ticket. 2018 marks the 10th anniversary of the industry's transition from paper tickets to 100% electronic tickets. Paper tickets have been in existence since the 1920s, but it was only in 1972 that the IATA neutral paper ticket was introduced.
And the idea behind that was that if IATA could have a standard for a neutral ticket, in other words, a standard without an airline brand or logo, then we could simplify the processes around ticket sales, reporting and collecting the cash from the agents. And that was the first time ever that the IATA logo was present on a paper ticket. At the same time, we were thinking about automating the process of issuing tickets. So the first thing that happened was that we were able to take the handwritten tickets and enable those tickets to be printed. When the automated ticket and boarding pass came along, it came with a magnetic stripe on the back, 4 tracks that were able to carry the encoded data of the sale of the ticket. And that really was the beginning of the automation age, where data could actually be read from the ticket for processing at the airport and check-in and the like.
At its 2004 annual general meeting in Singapore, IATA embarked on an ambitious initiative to convert the industry to 100% electronic tickets.
A lot of things were happening in the early 2000s. There was regional conflicts, there was an increase in terrorism, there was the global recession, and we were just coming out of SARS. At the same time, there was an exponential increase in the rising cost of fuel. So we really had to think hard about how we could reduce costs out of the industry and create better opportunities for the airlines to run their business. In addition to that, a number of carriers, again largely driven by the major US carriers, started to kind of give IATA notice that they wanted to interline with their partners only on the basis of electronic tickets because the costs were so much lower. And they started to tell us that if we were not able to drive an industry initiative to get more people to adopt electronic tickets, then potentially the whole interline system could fall apart. So we really had to do something to engage the industry overall to ensure that we had the process efficiencies, we reduced the costs, and we provided a much better and more able way to interline and automate additional functions that the airlines were keen to offer their customers at the time.
But getting to 100% was not going to be an easy task.
The industry in 2005, when I joined IATA, had 20% penetration. To get from 20% in 3.5 years to 100%, that was the challenge. I went to Egypt and I got introduced to a group of people, many of whom were wearing army uniforms, and they said, if you haven't got a paper ticket, how are we going to control the security of who approaches the airport? But the technology ones were perhaps the most difficult. There was a perception that this is going to require the internet. There was a perception that it could only be done by advanced airlines. And the final really big problem for people was interline. We had got about 15% of journeys were interline. To get this to work, you had to have communications, coordination between the different airlines. And getting the systems to manage that proved to be really hard work. And it was that actually caused us to delay completing the project for 5 months in order to allow the number of interline partners to be introduced.
After 3.5 years, the industry completed the transition to 100% electronic tickets on the 31st of May 2008. But there was still work to be done. The remaining tickets had to be recovered.
There was a total of something like 70 million paper tickets distributed between IATA's agents at the time, of which there were 54,500 roughly, our warehouses, where a lot of the paper tickets were waiting to be distributed, and of course the printing suppliers. And initially what we thought was that the travel agents could simply self-certify that they had destroyed the tickets and that would be sufficient. But I was working in fraud prevention at the time, and listening to some of our members, they decided that notwithstanding that, it was too much of a risk to leave that to the agents alone. So what we embarked on from June of 2008 was, if you will, a reverse logistics project. And that project entailed retrieving all of the tickets from the travel agents' locations around the world and the warehouses and the printing suppliers. So with a logistics company, we embarked on a major initiative to contact all of those travel agents, register them, get them to declare what tickets they actually had in their physical location. And once we'd done that, we sent them shipping notes and told them and asked them if they would actually to send them to our logistics company. And there, what we had to do was document them, we had to check them, we had to register them, we had to audit them. And once we'd registered them and audited them, then came the simple matter of, right, so now we've got all of these tickets in the warehouse, what do we do with them? And in the end, what we decided to do was to put them on a truck and send them for destruction in an environmentally friendly manner. By the end of the project, we'd actually created a database of all of the tickets that were outstanding. We mitigated all but 500,000 tickets. Those 500,000 tickets were placed on a tickets blacklist database. So if ever one of those tickets came into an airline for lift or for usage, they could query the blacklist and refuse the usage of it. And we did that within a time frame of 6 months, from June to December of 2008.
It has been 10 years since the industry converted to 100% electronic tickets. So what can we expect next? The answer: one order.
Electronic ticket was a great achievement for the industry, because we basically moved from a paper-based process to an electronic process. And this first part of digital transformation was a great step for the industry. However, we did not simplify some of the process behind. And so with one order, we are looking into simplifying some of the aspect of back office for airlines, and also trying to remove some of the confusion for passengers. When you fly directly with the airlines, when there is no interline, no travel agency involved, you have one single PNR and one electronic ticket. In the case of multiple travel agency, multiple airlines, you may have different records. And we're looking into having one single thing so that you are identified by the airlines involved in the value chain. We expect in the next 5 years to have some implementation. We're looking into the standard today. We will be looking at different pilots during the year, and we expect the industry will embrace and adopt this transformation in the next couple of years.